Well, Pearl Davis goes on Andrew Klavan's show talking about whether marriage, basically for men, is worth the risk. Is marriage worth the risk to men? Now, I would say, as the post-mill man, I think men should get married. I'm not sure if they should sign the state's marriage license. Jury's out on that one. But I do believe men should get married, at least in the church, because marriage is a good thing and it's ordained by God. But Pearl has some comments to Andrew at the end, and I was like, man, dude, Andrew, you don't get it. You just don't get it here. Let me go to the show. I'll put a link to the show notes. Hey, if you're liking this content, like, subscribe, give me a comment.
Well, I've watched your videos. At no point in your video do you say this is a high reward. A marriage is a high reward thing, and every happily married man I know, puts his marriage at the center of his world. I mean, I put my marriage as high as anything in my life, besides maybe God, as a source of happiness.
Does your purpose come from?
Every happily married man I know has a good marriage. That statement doesn't even make sense, really. Like, what? Okay, well, that's good. Every owner of a car that hasn't broken down, I know, has a reliable car. Like, oh, okay. Well, what does that statement even mean, dude? Like, what? What are you talking about? Like, there's a lot of people who there's probably more people in marriages that aren't that great compared to people in marriages that have awesome marriages, right? I think that's all that Pearl's trying to say here. Or if it's not awesome, it's completely horrible and they got divorced and then it was awful too. There's a lot more of those people than, oh, you should, Pearl, you should be encouraging people to have awesome marriages. That's like saying you need to be encouraging people to have awesome, reliable cars. Like, ooh, oh, okay.
Or your marriage come first?
Well, my marriage is so tied up in my purpose, so I don't even know how to separate them. I mean, I don't even know how I could have accomplished. How I could have accomplished. I mean, I got the life. If I had written out the life I wanted, I got that life. I would not have had that life without my wife.
And I don't doubt that good marriages exist.
Yeah, and so I guess the point I'm saying,
I would just wonder for Andrew Klavan, like what he's a media guy, he's a media head or whatever. What exactly does his wife do in their marriage to contribute to his show here? Like I would most men I know, their wives are not contributing to their career that they have. I mean, shoot, if anything, they're holding them back in their career because they want them at home helping around the house, blah, 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 get over here, blah, 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 whatever, right? I just think that's just white knighting for all the, oh, yes. And the women will listen to this and they'll go, oh, yes, I just support my husband so much. He'd never be where he is without me.
Because as a woman speaking to men, saying you should not, warning them or frightening them over a high risk, high reward thing.
Oh man, Pearl, you're frightening all the men. Oh. Now the men can look at the statistics and see, yeah, this may not, it's not that they're frightened, it's that they're logical. Hello, Andrew.
You're asking them to act like women.
I wouldn't say,
Ooh, there it is. Oh, let's shame the men. You're asking them to act like women. Oh no, come on, dude. Does anybody believe that? Like, I don't think that's working, my friend. If you're trying to shame men into marriage by saying, well, you're acting like women, that's not working. It's not going to work, my friend. Maybe in your generation, you're probably 103 years old. That might have worked in your generation. It's not going to work on this generation. Like, it's just not going to work.
I wouldn't say that I frighten them. I would say I interview men that have been disproportionately affected by divorce.
Yeah.
I interview men that have lost everything. And this is why I say it is very serious, because I have seen men on the brink of suicide. There's there is like a death in a guy's eyes, and I can't even describe it. Like when you meet someone that has had his entire reputation ruined, everybody thinks he's an abuser. It stresses him out so bad that he loses his job. He's paying child support, alimony. His kids are a mile from him.
But statistically, divorced women are poorer than divorced men.
Oh, come on, dude. Oh my goodness. Listen, here, let me throw this in, Pearl. Statistically, divorced women are poorer than divorced men. So what you're saying about men getting just completely run through the divorce grinder and all that, well, that's not really true. Because no, he knows the statistics. He knows when a divorce happens. He knows that, what is it? Between 40 and 50% of marriages end in divorce. And when a divorce happens, nearly 80% of divorces are initiated by women. He's saying, well, yeah, but they end up poorer. Well, I guess it doesn't matter that they end up poorer if 80% of the time they're the ones doing the divorcing. Like, and the most common reason listed is irreconcilable differences, meaning, I just didn't like being married. It's not, oh, he was abusive, blah, blah, or whatever. It's irreconcilable differences. I just fell out of love. Oh, I need something different, blah, blah, whatever. And you're telling me, well, they end up poorer, so that's not true, Pearl. What? Andrew knows this. He knows the arguments that Pearl is making and the rest of the type of people that Pearl associates with. Come on.
Statistically, women lose more in divorce than men do.
Well, men are more likely to commit suicide after divorce. 30% of no, this isn't funny. That's
well, men succeed at suicide. They're better at suicide. You're right about that.
Why is that funny? I don't understand, Andrew, like why that alone right there, laughing at men committing suicide after divorce, no matter how small that statistic, no matter how large or small that statistic is, laughing about that, that's not funny. How is that funny? When he did, I was like, dude, well, how is, I mean, I'm not saying you have to be Mr. Serious on your show or whatever, but how is that funny? I don't understand how that's funny.
This is something they're better at women at. Women try to commit suicide, but men do it better because they use guns.
No, but I'm saying after I think you're downplaying how serious this stuff.
No, but
yeah, not funny.
If women get poorer than men after a divorce, doesn't that seem to mean that women are not being paid?
Well, how do they calculate that?
By the outcome of the people's lives after the divorce.
No, but I'm asking how do they calculate
by
that?
The income.
Because they don't typically, in a lot of those stats, they don't include alimony, child support, and the money that women are taking from men. They just look at their income.
No, I think the ones I've seen, they include that in the income.
Now that's really interesting. What Pearl brings up, I don't know either way. So Andrew's just saying no, that's not true, and Pearl's saying yes, it is true that they don't calculate what they're siphoning off from their ex-husband there. But even regardless of that, how they're calculating that, even after all of the payments have been made, I would 100% agree that in the long run, of course, women are going to be poorer if they're divorced because they don't have a man to siphon funds off of anymore. Maybe they get the initial few years payout of alimony and the dividing of funds. The average woman is not good at handling money. Some women are very, very good at it, and those are the minority. The average woman is not good. She just spend, swipe the card. So many guys I know, they can't get their wife to quit swiping the card, stop swiping the card. And if the woman just keeps swiping the card and there's no man to give the credit card bill to, yeah, of course they're going to be poorer in the long run. And they don't want to work as many hours. I was listening to a woman talking about the reason why we have a deficit in there's like a doctor shortage in America right now. And she said something I thought was really interesting. She said the average male doctor works 44 hours a week or more. The average female doctor works 35 hours a week or less. And so her point was we've been giving preferential treatment to women to get them into medical schools. They have a leg up in medical schools for men. They will be given the seat above a man most of the time. So we've stacked the deck in the medical schools with women, and when they get out, they work on average 35 hours or less, and the men work 44 hours or more. So it's just another statistic to show that men are more interested in working longer hours and working more and earning more. I think you probably see that across the board in most professions. Of course, they're going to be poorer if they don't have a man to siphon funds off of. Like, hello, come on, dude. Like this is just simple logic here.
I mean, divorce is a horrible thing, you know, and for most of us, it's against our religion.
Well, if there was 100 marriages, 13 would be in a militia.
Pearl's not advocating for people to get divorced here, as far as I know. Like, I don't know why he's saying, yeah, divorce is a horrible thing. I think Pearl would agree with that. Yes, that's right. That's why people should stay married and stop getting divorced. Like, yeah.
13 would basically be that he is getting alienated from his children. He's paying a substantial amount of child support, alimony, etc. And that, so again, this is serious stuff, you know.
No, again, I agree with about 50% of what you're saying.
So anyway, I couldn't find it back in the clip. I'll put a link to the show here that Pearl. It was a pretty good show. They're talking. One of the points he kind of alluded to it at the beginning there in the clip I played was that married men just do better at life. They make more money, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, what a false equivalency. Like, do you think that if they weren't married that they would just be just complete slobs on welfare or something? Like, no, I think this is just a respectable man knows this is one of the things. You have to get a career, you have to get a wife, you have to, like, I think it's a very false equivalency to say, well, it's because of the marriage. It's because of the woman that this man is successful. All these billionaires are successful because they have a woman, blah, 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 and they're married. No, come on. Come on. You think Donald Trump would not be a successful billionaire if he didn't have his three wives? No, he'd still be Donald Trump. He'd still be out there making deals, making money. Like, anyway, what just a bunch of white knighting nonsense. We got to get this turned around. We got to stop the worship of women in our culture because Christ is winning. He is building his church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it. Until next time, this is Post Millennial Man.